Welcome back to the Honey Making Hotline, and this is your host, Aurafaja. And today I'll be venturing in where no man or woman wants to go, and that is into a hive of thousands and thousands of honeybees, each designed to sting you and deliver a small bit of poison, venom, whatever you want to call it, that hurts and eventually itches and makes a small little weird mark on your finger like I have right now. Because apparently when you're planting flowers for your honeybees, they like to attack you, because that's just how they show their love. Anyways, just like I just showed you, they're making comb on the underneath of the hive top feeder, exactly where they shouldn't be, much like a small child when you tell them to put their toys away and they end up just shoving it in the closet. So here we go, we're inspecting this second nuke hive that I got, and much like the first one, similar progress, not doing much with the outside frames, not even touching it, like my daughter at dinner when I tell her to eat something that she doesn't like. So separating the frames here, seeing how things are going, and they've been pretty busy. There's a lot of flow going on right now. I removed the entrance reducers so they could be flying in there. And oh man, look at that. This is a new frame, and they're actually starting to put some wax on there. Look how pretty that is. So they're doing pretty good work. They have a long way to go before I add another box like I did with the the first hive that I got, rather. But they're doing pretty well. Most of the work's being done in the center here, as you can see. A lot of the comb built up in the center. A lot of those old frames, they are the original frames from the nuke that I got. And look at these busy little honeybees. Let's take a second to enjoy this. Whoa! Now that is honey at the top, all capped. And this is one of my favorite frames. I'll actually slow it down here for a second once I bring it around. As you notice, there's a lot of comb at the bottom. I'm gonna have to clean some of that up. But either way, this frame is full of honey. All that white capped honey at the top there. Oh, geez. And this is actually a new frame. This is one of the ones that I recently put in. Look at that. Oh, my goodness. Look at the shiny goodness in each of the cells. Let's just slow it down. There you go. Look at that shiny goodness. They are doing some work, folks. Now, this honey is not honey that I'll ever touch. This stays in the brood chamber. Eventually, this will help them get through the colder months. I'm letting them build up what they need to survive over the winter. And then if they do well the first year and they actually fill up all the frames, then I'll potentially add another box. And that will actually be the honey that I harvest. So this large, deep box that you see here, this is strictly for them to survive. And then I'll add one more medium box on top. They'll fill that with brood and honey and pollen and everything else they need. Some bee bread, which I'll show you here in a little bit. And that'll get them through the winter. And now, the moment you've all been waiting for, the queen bee. Look at her there, little red dot in the back of her head. So the red dot, like I said, that's just a marking that the gentleman put on for me. This queen is from this year. So the yellow queen from the other hive, she was overwintered. This queen has a red spot instead of yellow, and that's from this year. So he actually does different markings depending on the year that the queen was made. And honestly, she was moving around a lot. I wanted to get her back in the hive. I saw her, she looked healthy. There was some eggs and larvae going on, so get her back in as quickly as possible. I do not want to smash her. I don't want to drop her, lose her, because then essentially I'll have to go through a lot of steps to either get another one or hopefully the hive will, make their own. But here we go. All this is brood. Look at that, all capped brood. They are about to explode. Oh my goodness. And you'll see here in a second, you're going to notice some dark orange cells, and that is bee bread. It's actually called ambrosia. It's the food of the gods. There you go, right in the center there. You see them dark orange cells? Let me slow it down. Yeah, so that's essentially a mixture of pollen and bee saliva, and it breaks it down. The raw pollen cannot be consumed by the bees. So the bee bread is mostly for the nurse bees to maintain their health and keep them strong so they can take care of all these brood. And as you can see here, there's going to be a lot of bees here being born here shortly. Oh my goodness, this queen's doing some work. All right, let me freeze this. Those white shrimp-looking things, those are the larvae. So we know she's laying eggs. We know that they're, progressing pretty well. I did see actual eggs in here. Let me freeze this again. The orange pockets, that's the ambrosia, the bee bread. Food for the nurse bees, all the goodness they need to stay strong and healthy and maintain the baby bees through their birth. And if you notice, a lot of the bees are sticking their heads down in the cells. into the cells with the honey. So when bees get smoked, essentially it sends a signal, emergency, we might have to evacuate. They're drinking honey up, trying to consume as much as possible just in case they have to get out of there. So a lot of them, like I said, if you notice, have their butts up in the air, drinking all the honey that they can just in case. But I don't smoke them too much, don't overdo it, and then eventually they'll calm down. So this bee here got stung. It stung a stinger and a sting tang. Anyways, it stung me in my glove, and the stinger got stuck, ripped out his internal organs, and it's slowly going to die. It's pretty terrible to watch. Like I said, bees don't necessarily want to sting you, but they will do so if they have to or if they get stuck. Most of the time when you get stung, it's because you either stepped on them or they got trapped in some clothing. But generally, they're not like hornets or something else. Some other flying insects can sting you multiple times and do not rip out their stinger. So looking down in here, it's kind of hard to see, but they're actually making a bee bridge. So because the frames are far apart, they're actually using each other and holding on their little legs. There you go. And they're crawling across frame to frame, making a little bridge. I have a better video or a better view of this coming up. All right, so I'm slowly closing this up, and you'll see here the little bee bridge. Take my hand. They're letting everybody across there. Anyway, so I want to slowly close this up, make sure I don't squish any bees, kill the queen, do anything crazy. But overall, Hive's doing well. I hope you all enjoyed it. This is Aurafaja with my apiary adventure, and I'll see you soon.